Hey, I'm back. So remember the Colorya? They're books that they have. I've pulled this one and I'm going to do a page out of it. Now, if you follow along, you know that their markers are here now. They are alcohol base. Just a quick review. I made this little swatches paper and put in the front of mine. I pulled the label off so that I could see right through there, but there's their label. I will put the link to these in the description, and there's the tag. Yeah, brand new to the US. I've pulled some and I'm gonna play some more with these because I played with these the other day and I just don't feel like I did a good job. But let's flip to here. This is one of those cutting mats from Dollar Tree, and I just cut it down some so that it would fit underneath because the markers do go through. Okay, so anyway, let me see if we can get zoomed in some. See if I can keep you on screen. I know it's a horrible problem I have. I just get so carried away with my coloring that I lose sight of what I'm doing. But anyway, as you can see, the colors are starting to blend better for me. Somebody had suggested that I go from dark colors to light colors, and that, I mean, that's total opposite than what we do with pencils, but I thought, why not? So let's go in here. And if you're coloring along, this is number 627, Vermilion. And it's the darker color that I'm going to use. And I'm going to be using the fine tips more today than the broad chisel tip. So I'm going down. Then I'm going to come in with my next color, 710, which is Carrot. And I'm going to go up into that other color. And I'm trying to keep the strokes very uneven. That way I don't get that straight line going across. And then last, I'm using number 719, Marigold. And I'll pull up. And then because these colors are similar, I'm going to come in with the colorless blender. Okay. And I'm going to go from the tip up just a bit. Okay, so I would do that then on all these sections. So move those to the side. Let's go ahead and address the yellow. And I'm going to stand up. I'm going to zoom you in some. That shows all the mistakes. But again, I'm learning. So that's the whole idea. So 233, which is Bumblebee, and then 217, which is Soft Butter, and then 824, which is Ochre. Again, I am going to go dark to light. So I'm going to do some dark, the darkest shade, right here, right there, and right there. Then I'm going to use my next shade, and I'm going to go into it and come on across, down into it, coming across, down into it, coming across. Then I'm going to wet this all the way across. I'm going to come up a little just because I don't like a straight line through there. Then I'm going to come in with my lightest color and go into that. And I'm going to get it all wet and then just do my circles through there until it really starts blending. And then I can come up here and see, I can go over that again. As long as it's wet, you can keep tinkering and playing with it. Let's go up here to this one. Now this one, I'm not going to use the darkest in because I don't want to use that darkest shade in everything. I'm afraid it would just get to where it looks, I don't know, just not as interesting. So that was my medium shade. This is my lighter shade. And I had a little bit of a mess up here. So we're going to try something on cleaning that up. I've got it all wet again. So now I'm pulling that colorless blender and I'm going to come right up here and get in there and lift a bit of that dark out. Okay, and my tip has stayed pretty clean, but if it had gotten dirty, I would have just wiped it off on another sheet of paper. Okay, and then I'm going to go back over that with my brightest color. Okay, now the other thing I can do while I'm showing, put all these caps on, while I'm showing that colorless blender, see this mess here? This is like some super eraser, which to me would mean these would be great for kids' projects at school, because at the price point that these are at right now, I would say they're good for kids and adults. Okay, now I'm going to leave that alone and let it dry. So let's move around. Let's just go right there to those leaves. What I've pulled is 372, which is seaweed, and 311, which is lime. And again, I have made my swatches for these, and I put colors that blend well together on the swatches. And then I left some extras in the back, and there you can see this one is, so that I can add to it. And then I'll just undo my ring and put that in the right color order later. So that just gives me room to kind of grow, so to speak, with my swatches as I learn more and more of what goes together. Now, that's not to say that you always need to blend with these. You don't. These, you could just do solid areas. I was just trying to play around and see what could blend. So that was my darkest. Now I'm going into my lighter. And I'm just going to get in there. Now, this is not normally where I would put a lighter spot on this. The reason I did that is I go back to my coloring with pencils, and I always go deeper right up under this edge, right there. So then I want the lighter where it's flipped over. So by doing this section lighter, it appears to have that flip where it's on top. And that's what I did with this one right here. Okay, I did that little flip on the end. So I've done that again on this one. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do that one right there. So I'm going to come in with the dark. Hey, why don't you pop me a comment down below if you end up buying these markers. Just want to see how many of y'all end up purchasing some of these. Then I'm going to go with the lighter and go from the tip down into the dark. And see how that brightened up that tip. Okay. So anyway, I would go through then and do all my greens. Let's look at the reds right there. I'm going to zoom back just a little bit so that you can see at the same time both before and after. So I'm going to take my 566 rosewood, my 644 crimson, and the 506 dusty rose. All right. Now in this one, because it meets here in the middle, I do each side separate, and then where it meets, I'll blend it all in there together. So color number 1, then to the second color, going into that first color, get rid of that line, and see, I'm purposely not being the neatest because I want to see to what extent can we push these markers. I want to know what they can actually do, because I am not a marker person. I feel like if I can do this, then probably most anybody could. Okay, then the next shade, getting rid of that line. And I'm just kind of going back and forth, and sometimes I find that helps me in the blending. What I do really like is that I can do this back and forth bit and nothing streaks. It's good solid coverage. And that's because they're alcohol based. Okay, so then there's another one of those. So when you're doing something like that, just do one side, then do the other, and then let it meet up. Put the caps on. And I love that they click. Then I know they're not going to dry out on me. Okay. Let's go to the blue. That blue is just right there. Now I pulled 3 markers on this one. So I've got the 578, which is the ultramarine, then 423, which is aquamarine, and then 448, which is sky blue. And again, I'm going to start with my darker, and I just love the variant we get there. So I'm going to do the darker up here at the top, coming down, then the next shade. I love that these markers have the skinny gray ring around them on the end. It's not really a ring, but that right there, because it lets me know automatically which end to pull off of the marker without having to stop and look at pictures or anything else. Now see, to me that was really easy. Hopefully I will get to where it's that easy with all the colors. But again, doing that dark first. And yeah, I do get out of the lines. It's just not the pencil. It's a marker, and it does handle differently. Okay, getting rid of the line here. and then just back and forth some there so that it's not a straight line. And I'm going to come back in with the dark again and just do a few little strokes. And then back to my medium. That's the other thing you need to see too, is that you can go back and forth now to the lightest and play with these colors and just keep playing around with it as long as you're on a good paper, which these mandala books, this is really a really nice paper to practice these on. So if you don't have something with thick paper, I do encourage you to go ahead and just grab one of their books off Amazon. Okay, so next I'm going to do the purple. Oops. I'm actually going to flip this around so that it's easier for me to get to it. Let's see, which one do I want to do? I'm going to do that one right there. Well, you know, almost just flipped it back to where I started, but that's okay. So again, I'm going to start with the darker, which is my 571 lavender, and then the 574 amethyst. So getting these ready, the darker one first. And again, I'm going to do this in sections so that it's easier for me to blend. And see, I can do it neat. I just have to work at it. I am not by nature a patient person, so I guess that speaks good that I can do this at all, you know? But yeah, sometimes I just get in a hurry and then I get over into the white. And that's another reason that I'm really, really glad that they decided to add colorless blender into our set for us here in the US. It just makes cleaning things up just quite a bit easier. Not even a little bit, quite a bit. So I'm just switching back and forth between my light and my dark. And yep, I just went into it. So we'll grab that colorless blender in a minute and fix that right up. And I did do a little bit with the colorless blender on some of my practice area before I put down the color. And on some of the colors it helped some, but on most of them I didn't see a big difference. So that's why I'm trying to learn to use it without the blender. And it also saves that colorless blender for me for just cleanup. Because let's face it, we are all going to have those spots where we get into it and where we wish we had been a little cleaner. And because I don't know what color is going over that later, I wanted to go ahead and get that cleaned up. Okay, now let's go back and look at this. Cleaned it up earlier, it dried. Let's see if we can clean it up anymore. Okay, so we're going to let that dry again. Yeah, right now the dark that you see is just it being wet. So, all right. So that's what we've practiced on today. Hopefully that helps you a little bit more with these markers, seeing what can be done with them. Again, I am going to put the description down there with the Amazon link in it. Okay? All right. So leave me a comment. Let me know if you're purchasing these. And we'll go from there and decide if we want to do some more color alongs with these. And again, the books are on Amazon. When you pull up Colorya markers, it's probably going to have the books right there too. And I've also got the links to their books on my other videos. So if you're a part of my channel, you've got that too. If you're not a subscriber, if you'll click subscribe, that would be awesome. And have fun. Sit and color. Marker. Have fun. Talk to you later. Bye.